Welcome to another episode. This is Explore. This is so good. We're gonna put it on all of.
It's so good.
Well,
We've not even done it yet.
I know, but I know.
What if we're
because
mediocre?
You are refreshed from having a little vacation, so you should be on your game today.
I slept in different beds for 7 nights.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was just glad to get my own bed last night.
Whenever you go on vacation, you're happy to be home.
Oh, I'm very glad to be home.
That's why I just don't go on vacation.
It was enjoyable.
I'm always happy to be home.
Well, it was my 10-year wedding anniversary, so I got to celebrate that. That's a record for me. So going away with the wife, showing her a different part of the world. It was good for her to see stuff she's never seen before. So, but yeah, I was so glad to get home last night. So glad to be home. There's no place like home.
So we're going to talk today about a sensitive subject to some people. To some people, they're gung-ho about it. So it kind of depends on what side of the aisle you're almost on. But
Are we going to lose more listeners after today?
Every time we do something sensitive, we gain listeners. And it's not about the school this time.
Yeah, and
it's not
funny
about a school system. Although
I've missed the last couple meetings because of just jobs, and I've been texting my friends in Harmon and texting the connections I have in Elkins, and like last night was a meeting, and I'm like, my flight lands at 6:00 in Dallas. I can't be there. So,
and even though this is an Explorer Randolph County, it'll go on there. But they had a tough meeting last night.
Yeah, I heard it actually made the news about a teacher at Tigers Valley getting physically aggressive. A coach.
Yeah. For the girls basketball.
Yeah, that's never.
Yeah.
Now here's the funny thing though. When I played football, our coaches were in our face. You know, I'm not saying I never felt like they abused anybody, but our coaches were.
So
they would go out and they'd say, "Come on, Murray, block me," or something.
Yeah. So we talked to, and we didn't plan on getting into this, but we'll get into it. So according to the news report, allegedly, 2 players were fighting.
Mm-hmm.
The coach of Tigers Valley stepped in between. Now this is according to the news. When she pushed the girl away, she pushed her on her throat, and then she drew back like she was going to hit her.
Oh,
that's what it. Gotcha. She didn't.
Okay,
but she was.
Yeah.
And the student, I guess, sued or the family.
Oh wow!
Saying they felt like it was threatening. So, what happened? I don't know. It wasn't there. That's just what was on the news report.
Yeah.
But this is one thing. I talked to teachers. I don't remember what it was. But I talked to a couple of teachers, and the teachers say we refuse to break up fights.
Yeah, because we heard that on the buses. It was the bus fight. Remember the bus fight in Gray County?
We talked to a couple teachers.
It's been a couple years ago. There was a bus fight, and we talked to a bus driver, and he said, listen, kids are fighting, and we're afraid to get in the middle, because if we try to break it up and we hurt somebody, we're the one who gets sued, So that's...
Yeah, so it's a... That is tough. A no-win situation.
Because if one of the kids hurt themselves...
I didn't see. What she did might not have been right.
Yeah.
But if you're breaking it up and you're trying to push... Now, if you drew back, but still you didn't. So, I can't remember what she was charged on.
But listen, lawsuits, just remember, people can sue for anything.
Well, she was charged.
Oh, she was?
I believe that's what it said.
Wow.
It was...
okay.
You could look it up real quick. On
yeah, I know it's posted.
And it was posted just so we get the facts right. We weren't even going to talk about this, but that is a tough thing. I was not there, did not see it. You're breaking up a fight. If you're trying to push him back and a hand goes on someone's neck, but getting to the point, that is why that our person had said, "Hey, we don't break it up because we can be sued."
Yeah.
But I almost was positive that there was a charge brought against her. And it was like a misdemeanor. I can't remember what it was. Misdemeanor assault or something. Can't find it now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But it is published report. And last night was the first board meeting since that happened. And so... like I said, I landed last night, and it was actually, I'll tell you, we had a fun time.
Oh, I know where you can find it. I think I posted it on our private page.
Explorer?
Yeah, no, ours.
Okay. No, we we got to go down to we spent some time in New Orleans and we went down to Mexico. But when I booked this, I didn't realize the Super Bowl was in New Orleans this coming weekend.
Yeah.
And it was
security. You said was,
and we were like less than a week away. There were probably hundreds. I don't know if they were National Guard. I mean, full on guns walking around. And
of course, because of what happened
in January.
Yeah,
when somebody went through Bourbon Street and killed 14, 15 people. Yeah, which was, they had Bourbon Street locked down. They had barriers. They had state police, local police. I mean, that place was, every block there was 2 or 3 cars with its lights on. It was pretty full on.
And I told you, I said, the expense that is going out for the Super Bowl, but you plan to get that back in tax dollars because of the amount of people that will be down there.
It'll bring business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll bring business. I mean,
you said you saw the Jaguars owners.
Sorry. I brought up that article.
The Jaguars owner's yacht.
Yeah.
Was
his
down there.
yacht was parked at the port we got on. So it's amazing the money that goes into sports. It's unbelievable, but it's going to be a big deal. I mean, of course, I was born in Philly, not an Eagles fan, but I'm not a Chiefs fan.
I haven't watched a sporting event in 7 years now. As soon as they started kneeling, I stopped watching. But I keep myself apprised of all news, and I know that there's a Penn State running back, Saquon Barkley, that's for the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
You're
like
for the
kind of
Eagles.
leading, Penn State guy.
So here it is. Belle put her hand against the throat of one of the juveniles while pushing her backwards, then drew back her right fist as if to punch the juvenile, deputy said. The juvenile believes she was going to be hit by Belle. Court documents say Belle is charged with one count of misdemeanor assault and one count of misdemeanor battery.
Okay.
Yep.
So just so we get it right, and that's not even what we were going to talk about, but yeah, that's a rough one. That's a rough one.
Well, when we talked about, we were working on the Grant County School a year ago. When we did that, there were some teachers who came to us on the down low or off the record. There were some higher up officials, administrators, who said that the ability to correct kids was taken away. Kids do what they want, and the teachers don't have any authority, nor do the principals. And so we heard that a lot and it was a year ago. We were diving into Grant County.
Yeah.
And then bullying's been an issue. I mean, there's so much, and it makes me understand why Trump wants to get rid of the Board of Education. No, not the Board of Education. Department of Education.
I am so for that.
And then you see why Patrick Morrissey's doing some things.
Yeah.
And so it seems as though. I mean, it's all people. We're all broken people, but it seems as though there's a real broken system. But I feel bad for that lady, the coach, because that's why
that's
a career
we
ender.
had people
that's
say,
tough.
"I will not break up a fight."
Yeah, my wife comes to punch me. I will not break it up. I run like a girl and scream. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that did happen this week. So
yeah,
I don't know if they talked about it the board meeting. I'll have to listen if it came. There's some things they can't talk about.
No, they'd have to go into an executive session for
so
that.
I'm sure that was
Yeah. So, but so what we are actually talking about today is the 3-letter acronym that has been hot and heavy since Trump took office, Patrick Morrissey took office. If you want to take it to a state level too, and that is those 3 nice little words: D-I-E. Die. Oh wait,
DEI.
They say DEI. We call it DIE because that's what happens when you implement this stuff.
Gotcha. Well, you're going to get into it, and if I'm jumping ahead because I'm not as educated on this. All that I heard is when first off we flew out of DC the day before the crash, which was sad, and then to hear the comments that were made by the White House about how they hire, what happens. And so we were following it when we were out of the country. But the word DEI kept coming up, and they kept saying, we're going to hire based on, is it merit? The word they are used?
Oh, God. Now I can't say the word.
It was based on someone's merits. Yeah.
Meritocracy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's what we kept hearing. we're hiring based on merit, not color of skin. And so my wife worked for Technicolor. So I asked her, I said, listen, when you were running HR, my wife still has a recruiting business. I said, how did that affect, like, what did they tell you to do different? And she said, well, what they told us to do different is and if I misspeak, she'll correct me. She said, instead of, let's say for an example, we would hire all of our people from, let's just say Yale, for an example. We would go to Yale to get recruits to work for us. They're telling us now we need to look at other colleges to get different types of ethnicities, different types of, you can say genders, different types of people that would be in that kind of the minority group. She said, because I said, how do you do that? Like when you're running an ad, because what I've heard is, and you can correct me on this, is that they're wanting like an equal amount of races, an equal amount of genders, an equal amount of whether it's homosexual
which we're going to get into.
So she said what they were told to do was go, instead of going to get the people from Yale, go to other colleges and look. And so it was interesting. I wasn't sure.
So let's go over for people who might not know. Maybe this is your first time to even hear DEI, because President Trump signed an executive order that anything that had to do with DEI is done in the United States government. Done.
Federal
Patrick
government.
Morrissey did the same thing.
West
DEI,
Virginia.
done.
Okay.
Really, the ones really crying about it, you hear at WVU University. They had to shutter their programs, had to get rid of staff.
Well, why is that?
Because they have a DEI department.
But they're run by
run by the state.
By taxpayer money.
Or taxpayer money.
Yeah.
So D stands for diversity.
Okay.
Sounds great, right?
Yeah, diversity.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about it. E stands for equity. Sounds great till you understand what it actually means.
Is equity different than equality?
We will talk about that.
Okay.
I stands for inclusion. Okay. So talk about the one thing, and since we are in football season, let's talk about this, because the big thing is that this year there are 2 black quarterbacks. And isn't that great that there are 2 black quarterbacks?
Yeah,
and, now why aren't there 2 black head coaches? And so we're going to talk about diversity, because diversity is a great thing. You can talk about diversity of ideas, which you need. You need tons of different opinions. Great. Diversity of ideas. But what we've found is, and what they do, and you alluded to it a little bit with your wife, they say, okay, we want equal amounts of each race. But it's not each race, because we'll talk about that in a minute bit, because it just seems to be we want equal amounts of black people.
Okay.
And I say black, not African American.
Okay.
Because coming from a church that is majority black,
they
are not African American.
Correct.
The reason that they wanted to start calling everyone African American is because it links our brain that all black people are descendants of slaves.
Okay.
So they want.
Just so you know, our church is heavy Haitian.
Well, that's what I said.
They were slaves. They were the first slave country to become free. So there is, even though we don't consider them African. Yeah. They did come from slave countries.
To Haiti.
Haiti, correct.
To Haiti.
Correct.
But they want you. It's a wordplay, so we have to call everyone African American. They're not African American.
Gotcha.
Africa is not Egypt or black people.
True, Egyptian, yeah.
Yeah. Now people will say they're brown. If you go back and look at the pharaohs were blacks. So that's why I say black, not two, so people don't get upset. The word police.
Their word police?
Oh my, yeah. So the thing that they're doing is they want an equal amount. I heard Stephen A. Smith complaining just this week or last week.
Who's Stephen A. Smith?
He is on ESPN. He is a black talk show host.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah, and he's complaining that there's. I think he was saying, I'm gonna get my numbers wrong, but it was like there are 30, because how many teams are there? 32? Yeah, I think there's 32. Wow. So there's 26 white head coaches, and there's only 6 black head coaches, and I think that's it. I think that's what it was. That shouldn't be. There should be equal. That's what the D in diversity and DEI stands for. They want equal.
Okay.
The problem is that's not an equal number amount because of the breakdown of America.
You mean the percentages of the different ethnicities we
The
have
percentage
in America?
of Americans, 50, depending on where you go, one site had 68% is white, another site had 58%. Even if we say 58% of America is white, then if you want a true diverse head coach breakdown
to be consistent with
then 58% of the coaches would be white. Then you'd have 20% should be Hispanic. Remember, it's only diversity if it's more black people.
Well,
you don't hear people
question,
complaining about not enough Hispanic head coaches
or Asian,
which is 6% of the population.
And I think Asian and Indian are, when it comes to income, they have higher income than the white community, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, they've been okay.
Yeah. So that's why the D in diversity is so bad. Not that diversity is bad. It's because they want it to be equal, and it's not equal.
So you're saying it should represent
the breakdown of America.
Gotcha.
But my problem with it is they're only complaining about, and I keep using football because it's Super Bowl week, about the number of black head coaches. I've never once heard anyone say, where are all the Hispanic head coaches at?
Well, I've never heard anybody say, where are all the white guys at on the football team?
Well, that's another thing. Because if we're going to go by diversity.
Yeah, DEI should work. If DEI is truly the answer, it should work everywhere.
Then there should be 50% white people.
Why are there in
your football team?
Basketball.
Football. That ain't happening.
Where are the African American or blacks in hockey?
Yeah, I think there's like maybe 2 now.
Yeah. But why? So why is that? It's because they bring in people based on their what?
It's a meritocracy.
Thank you. You can say that word.
Yes.
They do it based on their
performance. Who is the best?
Yeah. Which I think that's
now,
how it should go.
Everyone is saying Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback there is.
Gotcha.
Guess what?
The refs say that, don't they?
The refs. Yeah. Guess what? He's a black guy.
Gotcha.
I don't think the Chiefs fans care that he's a black guy.
They want to win the Super Bowl.
They want to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, black guy.
Gotcha.
I don't think the Eagles fans care that, and we know how the Eagles fans can be. They threw batteries at Santa.
Don't mess with. I was telling people in New Orleans, I'm like, are you ready for the Eagle fans to come down here?
Yeah.
And I think they told me that they were down. The Eagles may have been down for Saints. Was it the Eagles Saints in the Super Bowl?
No, were they in the Super Bowl? They were in with the Chiefs. Again,
the locals were like, well, they're not that bad. I'm like,
then
really?
They were in because they won. Who did they play the year they won? It was like 6 years ago or something.
I think it was in New Orleans because didn't the Saints play? Anyway, keep going. I don't remember the details,
so the issue problem with diversity then becomes you're not hiring people based on their merit, which is it's a god awful situation with what happened with the helicopter and the plane.
Yeah, I don't know if we know. We know some details.
Know what happened.
We're still
but
waiting for
it came out that it was a woman pilot.
Correct.
And I know they had been throwing around DEI before it was released that it was a woman pilot.
Yeah.
So then the investigation begins. Was she a pilot from merit? Was she a pilot because it was a DEI hire? That's the problem that you have. And it brings up questions that now if I go in and I'm hiring somebody, will I have to hire this group of people and this group of people and this group of people over someone?
Well, they're saying
who might be better.
They're saying that's not the case. But if you are trying to, and I have 3 daughters and you have a daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter wants to be an engineer, which is a heavy male industry.
It's male dominated.
And it's like our mother. Our mother was a pastor, which was heavy male.
Male dominated.
So we don't have an issue with color. We don't.
No. I tell Autumn, I was like, you can be anything you want. So
really?
Yeah. I do tell her that.
Can't she? Because she can't sing. She can't be a singer.
She can still be a singer. Have you heard those? What they do with auto tune?
You may want to direct her away. Hey, my daughter can't sing either.
I know.
She's doing the Annie play and she's singing.
But my daughter, like your daughter, Michaela, my daughter excels in math and science.
Oh yeah.
I mean, excels in math and science.
And that's good in the engineering field.
Yeah.